Well, hello everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of Metaworld News, otherwise known as MBTV News, where we look at highlights of stuff from virtual worlds and immersive spaces online. And the highlights we're actually featuring today are all for the week ending the 18th of September 22. Now, I'm broadcasting from the United Kingdom, in Britain, that is. Yes, it's a place called Britain. And get my right screen back on. And, well, we were just talking about Much Ado About, yeah, wait for it, something. Yes.
Something.
Been a lot of queuing going on. There we go. That isn't our Queen, that is Meryl Streep playing the Queen in a movie. And they've changed the wording to the Q. This is fairly harmless, I thought. It's just a sort of light-hearted gag, you know, about the queues going on. Basically, the funeral's tomorrow, and they're closing. They're cutting off the queue now because it's 22 hours long. And the last person in the queue will be lucky to get there before it shuts, ready for the funeral, obviously. Still another week of official mourning going on, though I suspect all the palaver will be over this time tomorrow when it comes to pomp and ceremony and stuff, of which there's been an awful lot. I was actually amazed to see. I clicked off the BBC while they had a sports roundup the other day, and I put on CNN in America, which is on satellite here, and I stayed with it a while. And I was astonished to find that on average, CNN is giving, I suppose, 23 and a half hours coverage to the royal shenanigans, whereas the BBC at least is only on about 60%. Why an American network is giving more coverage than we get, I don't know, but this is life, and it's probably even more at the moment because Biden and his wife, Jill, it's Dr. Jill, isn't it? Yeah, arrived too, and they joined the throng, so to speak. Anyway, that'll be on later tonight, and then funeral tomorrow. Then hopefully it will quieten down. But these things shouldn't really affect the news from the metaverse type stuff. But yeah, it was quite slow last week, and this week too. Week past, as it were. Though there have actually been a number of events, which I suppose kept some of the tweeters and bloggers occupied. Anyway, I'm on the pictures. This has really nothing to do with this. But one thing that did drive me up the wall is on eBay today, I found several offerings of pretty much the same thing for sale, and the most expensive one was £12,000 for this. That's a paper wristband that everybody in the queue was given, basically to show you where they were in the queue, you know, so that it wasn't all chaos and people queue jumping or people sneaking in that weren't at the beginning of the queue. So I suppose you get to keep it as a little memento of having been on the queue. So quite a few people are saying them at astronomical prices. This was the highest I found on eBay. I love this £7.65 postage on top of £12,000. Oh, but that's really bad taste. That is really bad taste, I think. But I did actually not tweet it on Facebook. I said, well, it's no wonder the queue is so long. Everybody's collecting these things in the hope of getting £12,000 on eBay for them. Given that half the population of the country have been in that queue, well, who's going to pay the money? Is it the other half of the population? If they didn't want to join the queue and see the coffin, then I don't think they'll be in the market for £12,000 pieces of paper. But there you go. I'm very disappointed to see that kind of behaviour. Okay, moving on to some pictures here, actually, before we get into the news proper. I forgot to say who we are. I'm Mal Burns, by the way, and well, not so much these pictures, but if you want to follow the news links I'm going to be mentioning, you'll find me on Twitter, where they've been squashing me for a long while, actually. Twitter.com/MALBURNS, Mal Burns is the name you look for. And you can also find Twitter.com/Metaworld News as well. Another squash job. So various links you will find there if you need them. And yeah, as I said, these are the headlines for the weekend in whatever it was. Forgotten all. That's a good one, isn't it?
It is the week that it was, whatever that was.
I'm way out of order. 18th, I think, or something like that.
Yep.
Right, I'll find out later if I forget. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, this is just a graphic that came up earlier in the week, and I thought this important. Not as in nice sort of pictures, psychedelic or whatever. I don't know whether it's meant to be NFTs or just a nice picture, and going down and flashing lights at the end of it. But it's a cautionary tale, this, or a cautionary post, I should say. Think before you mint. Basically, the electricity people are using to do their NFTs, I suppose, and the only thing you can do with them is put them on the virtual gallery like this, I suppose, and pay a fortune. But the electricity and power used to do that minting is just all blockchain stuff is phenomenal. We need to be saving electricity, not mining virtual goods and novelties with it. So think before you mint. And the last bit there says, or there may be no light at the end of our tunnel. Meaning, of course, that the lights will go out if we use up all the electricity doing non-functional trinkets or whatever they're called. Right. Okay. A supposed leak earlier in the week. This came from Scott Ghost, actually. In fact, I don't need it because underneath here I've actually got a link open. The link I've got here is the Scar Ghost, Tony Portillo's roundup of the week before last, in fact. As you can see here, he's got a picture of something that leaked. We probably have a sound effect for this, don't we?
There it is. That scared ghost. I'm sorry,
Yeah,
scarred ghost.
that's how it goes. Well, maybe it got Lord Zook
It's
running
the
off.
ghost that does the scaring, though. So
Yes, that's what I mean. So
yeah,
if Lord Zuki's watching, maybe it's put him off, and the
yeah,
howling has sent him away. If you see what I mean,
yep.
because
Well, okay, okay.
this was supposedly a leak of the new Quest Pro headset. Um,
The
it's
Cambria.
it's probably closer to being a headset than a helmet, I must say. But actually, I find this is a bit of a joke because a lot of people, I won't say fell for it because it was quite genuine, but there are some very suspicions that this was a deliberate leak on the part of Meta or Facebook or whoever they are, um, just to get a one up on Apple's announcements in the week, or whatever, which didn't include any kind of headgear, I've got to admit. But basically, it just seemed a bit too many coincidences that this was left lying around in a room and a hotel room, and I forget what the story is, but people reckon that that can't, all those combination of things could not have happened by accident. This was, somebody was meant to find this and do the unboxing. Or maybe the person who found it and did the unboxing was paid to find it and unbox it. Who knows? Anyway, we have a slightly better idea of what's going on in Suki Land now. But otherwise, of course, there's all the news, from the week before last, in fact, courtesy of Scar Ghost. So you find this at his website, which is scarghost.com, SKARREDGHOST.com. With that, I'll return to the pictures. We didn't really need that one, did we? Right, this is quite interesting. This is the the XR Association, XRA, they're called. And they produced this. It's a PDF online. Now you can get it in picture form too. Download it or print it. Um, but it's a sort of one of these sort of cartoons that, like, it really looks like a really unimaginative educational cartoon, very static and everything else. But actually, it's very good. The first is 4 pages. Obviously you can't read it here, but if you go to XR Association, their website or something, you can probably find it. I think I've got their address coming up again later, but that's the second one. So as you can see, it starts how it can help you do your workout, and then next page, how does it know about you, and then about walking to class and exercise, and then having a class at medical school, and then visiting the research lab, and shop at the bakery on the way home with your VR glasses, of course, in this case, and then online shopping, and the final page, having time with friends, most important of all, and then a little more to know at the end there. I think that was a little like fold out pamphlet of 4 pages, and floating around anywhere really, quite a useful sort of little. It's not going to win any awards for cartooning, but it does its function, so I thought I'd grab it. Okay, this is not until March next year, but this I think this sort of got announced a bit early. Virtual World's Best Practices in Education. Now it says September the 14th there, and that's because the Felon Carmel and various people concerned were actually in World at another educational event, and they were there as a sort of panel talking about their event, which we know quite well, which is Virtual World's Best Practices in Education. But they announced it for next year on March the 23rd and 25th. And they were just basically telling people in Second Life what was going to be happening there. But it is by way of also, of course, deliberate or not, the first heads up I've actually seen on next year's conference, although it is a fair old way off yet. That's, 6 months, isn't it? But always good to know. Put it in your diary well ahead of schedule kind of thing. Moving on. Now, this is somebody obviously played with one of these AI painting things and put a picture of the Emperor and Chucky, which is from a horror movie, together, and they come up with something called the Chuckerberg. It's got a few chuckles from me. Ha ha. Witty, eh? Chuckles about the Chuckerberg. Yes. Well, it suddenly beats his own avatar, doesn't it? When you think about it. I mean, if anybody's ever seen his actual avatar, it's crap. At least that's not pleasantly convincing, but convincing enough, I think. Anyway, probably very appropriate too. Finally, for those of you who follow events in OpenSim, as you know, the Hypergrid Safari is back. This isn't one of the first official ones. Somebody posted this somewhere announcing the Safari's visit to their art factory, which is apparently happening on the 28th of September. So I forget whether this is one Thurston mentioned on our InWorld review here last week, but a bit of extra PR for you there. If it isn't, it'd be the normal time noon, and hg.osgrid.org port 80. Region's called The Art Factory with spaces between it, but the meeting place beforehand is actually the same address, but the region is called HG Safari. So not too much work involved there, right next door, so to speak. So I'll put that away, and before we go on to more actual clips from the week, or web clips that is. So here, somebody's advertising their avatar tech. It's nothing that we haven't heard of before, but it makes a good little explanation for people who don't know about it. And then a little clip that I got this morning from Somnium Space, who've now launched Somnium Space on the web, so Somnium Space Web Worlds. I'm not a great fan of Somnium Space, because a client and the blockchain and all that, but now they're putting web worlds online. It might be a lot easier to pop into them. And then I will be mentioning more about this later, but I got a clip from our friend Philip Rosedale, who was on a panel Thursday I think it was, and this is just a little clip of his roundup speech, which would just make a good intro to this program or anything else, really, telling us what's what. So let's get started with all three. Well, we'll try to anyway. Come on. This doesn't want to play, does it? What's going on here? Play.
Glue collaboration helps teams around the world to collaborate remotely in more productive and sustainable ways using a cloud-based virtual collaboration platform. Glue provides a true feeling of presence and access to a full set of tools for effective live collaboration in persistent, real-time and fully customizable virtual environments, complete with 3D spatialized audio.
Now, Glue is a separate program in its own right, though it has got that meta look to it, doesn't it? Except, unlike having no legs, that lady didn't have any arms either. But nevertheless, she did have a helmet and a face of sorts. Okay, this is Somnia Space on the web. There's a way to say monetize anything you can envision. So you can create your own spaces and they will be on the web, but I think whether you'll have to save your space as an NFT or pay with blockchain to make it, I don't know. So it does say user creators, so who knows? Anyway, that's Somnian Space. And words of wisdom here from good old Philip Rosedale.
We've talked a lot about challenges, problems, dangers, and I'd like to conclude kind of with a message of hope on this. You know, human beings as social creatures are the most polite, the most compassionate, the most generous when we are face to face. This is something that we saw big time in Second Life. We had forums in those early days that were text forums, like what we've had forever on the internet, and which have caused so much trouble, you know, Reddit kind of thing. And people would be mean to each other in those forums, and I would go in world and I would get face to face with them and get them together as avatars, and they would immediately apologize and find common ground. That is a common human trait, though it may not happen all the time. It happens statistically a great majority of the time for us. So if we are able to make the internet more live, and if we are able to find constitutions and forge ways of getting along with each other in there, which I know we can, we will achieve something that I think many of us, myself included, you know, having started my career in 1994 or so, you know, the beginning of the internet, we will find ourselves with the situation that a lot of us had always hoped for, which is a genuine way to connect intimately in a present way with people far across the world from us and like them and get along with them and find common ground with them. So, you know, let me just hold out that I feel certain that we can go there. There's great danger that we don't, but we certainly can.
Fine words indeed there. So back to the web posts here, and I've already told you about Tony Portillo's XR Week Peak, so we will dispose of that. No, we can't. It's further down the list. Okay, I jumped there. Okay, I forget what order we're in this week, so I'm getting to the top of the list and we'll work it out from there. Right, this is supposed to zdnet.com, so ZDNet or something. I don't know actually how you meant to pronounce that. ZDNet or something. ZDNET.com. And I know there's a week review coming out. Never mind. Right, so yeah, this got retweeted a few times actually. This was just very recently, the other day. The future of the web will need a different sort of software developer. They're looking at the fact that Web3 and presumably standalone platforms too, ambient computing and the metaverse, blah blah, all sound exciting, but they'll be matched by changes to what developers do too. And so this is really just a roundup about the impending workload and change in practice, really, for developers who want to take advantage of inverted commas the metaverse, but also Web3 and that whole thing, really. So find that at zdnet.com, and I'll put that away. Moving down. Oh God, it's the lightweight department here, though. It is quite serious. I'm not going to put a lol with this, you know. A creepy-looking VR gadget called Mutalk allows metaverse users to scream like nobody's listening. So I suppose if you're in a VR horror arcade or something and you need to scream, you put this thing on your mouth and you can scream to your heart's content, but nobody can hear you. In the real world or in the virtual world, or both, in which case why bother screaming? I don't know, but look at it. I mean, if you haven't got enough contraptions on your head with that bloody helmet, this thing's half the size of the helmet, and it's just so you can scream. Anyway, it did come from Japan. So it says something. Tokyo-based company. I thought it said Shiftfall, but no, Shift All, not Shitfall. Makes you wonder. It acts as a mouth muzzle microphone that can capture sound directly from your mouth without the interference of background noise. It might have a use, but when I saw that headline, I just thought, in the metaverse, everybody can hear you scream, or nobody can, paraphrasing the old Alien out.
Alien, right?
From back in history that most of my listeners probably no longer remember, but never mind. James does. Anyway, it's a whole article here about sensory deprivation and everything else, and how this mouthpiece fits into the thing. And there is they've actually got other products too. They've got a feel product and a wireless full body tracking, and there was some interesting thing here. Oh yeah, here we are. Yeah, I thought that. The article goes on to stress how sensory deprivation mouthpiece appears to look like an intense medieval gearpiece, more likely to be worn in a traumatizing interrogation or a BDSM dungeon than a VR enthusiast living room. Enough said, I think. Okay, you'll find that article at screenshot/ media.com. So SCRENSHOT-MEDIA.com. Screenshot-media.com. Moving down, I've got quite a few this week from a site, AR Insider and XR Today. This one's AR Insider, ARINSIDER.co. And this was one that really did get an awful lot of retweeting as well. Can XR avoid the privacy missteps of the past? And they're promoting a little bit about the XR Safety Initiative people, but also, editorially, considering the mistakes of the past and how, we're already seeing it with people saying the future of the internet is the metaverse. Whereas originally the future of the internet was the World Wide Web, and are there lessons from the way the web developed for the metaverse? Bearing in mind they're all on the internet, they're all powered up by servers, and they all potentially interfere with our lives in bad ways as well as good ways. We shall see. Right, so ARinsider.co for that one. Remove that quickly. And a post at Medium here, which don't know who the writer of this, saying that Apple just quietly gave us the golden key to unlock the metaverse. Well, they didn't announce something that everybody missed. That's not the point here. What this reviewer has done is he's realized the improvements that the LiDAR scanning on the iPad Pro and on the iPhone now have made, and he's just put two and together with the Apple idea that products just work, and he's looking at the way you can. I think on the website version there are actually pictures here. Show you can actually build an entire virtual environment using your iPhone. You can use the LiDAR scanner for depth pictures and make a wraparound, but another program that Apple provide in the iOS is something called ARKit, which is Apple's object capture, and that does what LiDAR can do, like still 3D, if you see what I mean. It doesn't it recognizes depth in a picture and also in a wraparound one, but Apple Object Capture doesn't use 3D scanner. It uses regular old photos, and they're interpreted by an AI which is run by Apple on their servers that understands the shape of what it's looking at, and the results are spectacular compared to scan technology, and they're also saying that it's incredibly fast. It's done literally on the spot. And so there's a technology called Room Plan, which is part of Apple's AR thing. Whether it's in the well, it's certainly in the new iOS, which doesn't require the latest iPhone. Obviously, the latest iPhone has got a few improvements in photography department. Yeah. What can I say? This is just a roundup of it, and very good roundup it is indeed. You'll find this, in fact, at medium.com. MEDUIUM. I don't know the exact. They never. Half the time they never give the exact link. You can obviously go to twitter.com/Mal Burns and find this article in my links, and if you follow the link from there, it will take you to the exact page where we're actually viewing just now. But the beauty of this seems to be that it actually can mix photorealistic and depth photography with this sort of scanning and generating 3D places, and then merge the two together. So what you have is an actual walk around 3D room that combines all the depths and information from the LiDAR scanner. But this is all very obviously the guy who did it here writing about it can explain it far better than I, but it's pretty interesting stuff. So let's get rid of that. Move down to arinsider.com. This is ARINSIDER.co, just a CO on this one. And the 9 principles for merging realities. Again, looking at various things that can be combined together, basically. What's interop is all around. They've got this thing about something called Meta-Earth, or Metaverse, actually, which is even weirder to pronounce. And Living Cities, which is a startup that's been around for a while, actually. Foursquare's co-founder behind that. Yeah, anyway, this is a sort of talk, basically, or rather a transcript of a talk. Rather interesting. So, 9 principles for merging realities there. ARinsider.co. Oof, right. Sorry, catching my breath here. Feeling a bit dizzy for a second. Right, XRtoday.com is the next one here. XR, which of course is referring to mixed reality, augmented reality, virtual reality. They're basically, the X is extended reality. XR firms are calling for policy, ethics, and XRA panel. Policy and ethics, and the panel finds. And again, this is the end of the week here. I don't think I was able to get a video. Yeah, I think there were just photographs of this. I wasn't able to find a video of this panel. There was another one this week that I couldn't get a video of, which rather annoyed me, but it seemed to disappear after it had been live, which didn't help. But anyway, they've got a good roundup of talking about ethics and stuff and education and everything else in the metaverse here. Oh, and yeah, a little paste there actually, but that link, if you're following this article at XR Today, if you see that link, click on that link, will take you to the 4-page little booklet I showed you at the top of the show. That's where you can get it from. Okay, so in a slightly more serious department, actually, a magazine or a newspaper, I don't know what it is, it's called thehill.com, and no, it's not Notting Hill Gate, which is a magazine local to me. This is the Hill, as in the place where Congress is in America. And when metaverse worlds collide in Congress, did they indeed? Does that mean the Republicans have one and Democrats have another, and they're arguing over who's
Sure,
got the
why
metaverse?
not? Yeah.
Yeah, they're arguing over who owns the metaverse. Does it belong to Trump or does it belong to Biden? Sort of thing. Obviously it belongs to Trump because he thinks it does, and you can't argue. Can you? Well, maybe it belongs to the Democrats. Who knows? Who knows? Or maybe none of them own it. Maybe this is all hiding to nothing to waste debating time in Congress. Who knows? Anyway, assuming art is what the German philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer defined as a scene within a scene like in Hamlet, then perhaps that's what the metaverse is, a 3D spectacle within a spectacle of virtual reality worlds. Yeah, they like playing with this one, don't they? Yeah, okay. From a point of view of where it overlaps with Congress, Web3, Horizon Worlds, Meta, all the shit that's going down, to excuse my language, in the context of the American Congress. Yeah, well, sort of.
Sure.
Interesting enough to read if you're interested in those things. So you find out at thehill.com, TheHill.com. Moving on down, and another foreign place. This time we're over to France. And, well, there's some other rather ugly shots in this photograph. Macron's dream of a European metaverse is far from a reality. The best prospects for the continent's tech firms are as niche operators. Opinion piece here. There's Mr. Macron. There's some weird guy. I think it's an avatar that had a mistake in the making, and don't know who she is either at all. Anyway, French President Emmanuel Macron wants to build a European metaverse to challenge the US and Chinese tech giants, and the EU's digital chief, Marguerite Vestager, I think that is her actually. Is mulling, she's mulling a new antitrust regulation, but her ambitions are a long way from being realised, etc., etc. This is opinion. You know, when you think, you know, things go slowly in the European Union. They're still going slowly in the UK, and we left. But it's bureaucracy taking its time, isn't it? But sometimes things do happen quickly. And you know, when there's an urgent call, so to speak, and certainly the EU's been fining people like Meta endlessly at the moment for breaking European laws. So it's you know, they're wielding their power quicker than, you know, say the US, which is actually home to many of these companies. Is so who knows? Who knows? It's, yeah, I'll take this as opinion, but quite interesting all the same. And yeah, some couple of guys from Nordic startups there, building the unknown. As you can see, there's a fair bit to read here. Factory and the version of the factory in real life to compare. Yeah, pretty accurate. A lot there to read, as you can probably see. So you'll find this at thenextweb.com, TheNextWeb.com. And as I said, any of these links, follow my Twitter feed, Mal Burns at Twitter, and you'll be able to click directly on the links to get straight to the pages you need. Right. We mentioned this for a couple of reasons last week, the SIGGRAPH 22 conference. This is actually Cesium's website. It's simply a recap. They've got some video stuff here, which includes Neil Trevett from the Kronos Group, well, it's all about building the open metaverse, basically. The Kronos Group have been working with the IMA too, so sorry, OMI. God, there's so many of these. Getting confused. Anyway, you got an announcement there, transcript basically, and video as well. You'll find this at Cesium's own site, so CESIUM.com. And basically, it's a fairly comprehensive roundup of everything that happened, not this week gone by, but the week before at SIGGRAPH. Right, moving down to, oh, lovely pop-up window for me. Right, a concrete approach to the industrial metaverse. I love it when you get unusual headlines that still use the word metaverse in them. There's an app out there that the enterprise uses more than consumers, called TeamViewer. And it's their chief product officer who wrote this article. Time to develop a convergence of the physical world, connectivity and immersive technology, which we actually have a way of putting that in one word. It's called interop or interoperability. You don't need, how many words was it? 1, 2, 3. You don't need 6 words. You just need the word interop. in my opinion. But always good to see people reiterating that is exactly what we need. And I love this phrase, the industrial metaverse, because it doesn't say enterprise metaverse. It's not consumer metaverse. It's industrial metaverse. And I'm not really quite sure how they view this as opposed to any other descriptions of the metaverse. But anyway, the industrial metaverse is already happening. It's not as prominent in the customer-facing part of the business as it is with frontline workers in factories, logistics, training centres. The trend will be for companies not only to digitize single processes, but their entire value chain by connecting the worker to the data that covers the whole process. So, yeah, more to read. That site is called designnews.com, DESIGNNEWS.com. So there's two N's in the middle there, Design News, but all one word, if you see what I mean. Right. Okay, follow up, sorry, uncommon realities. I mentioned this a minute ago, and once we had the dates, we actually found they'd put an announcement up. This is Virtual World's Best Practices in Education again, and the full announcement on their site. The theme is uncommon realities. Don't know quite how you define that. And it's basically for educators and people, and it's held in Second Life, and as far as I know, there are experiments with holding parts of it in other platforms have sort of gone the way of ways. It looks like they're in the wall garden of Second Life exclusively now. But anyway, coming out March 23rd to 25th next year. And you'll find this at vwp.org, their site, vwbpe.org. And there you go on that one. Moving on, XRA, I mentioned them earlier. It's simply xra.org, xra.org. Into the digital world, and their guide to immersive technology. Now, essentially, well, you can register there, and you can say no, I'm not interested because I've already done it. Again, you can get that little 4-page leaflet from them, but more to the point, you can actually download a lot of PDF kind of material from them as well, or get yourself on the email list. So the site there is xra.org, probably the easiest for me to read out for some time, actually. There we go. Wasn't that easy, he tells himself. Okay, now, shock horror. Something happened this week which is almost unbelievable. A real landmark in the possibilities of avatars and immersive spaces. This company, they're working on their own sort of platforms to do it. They're called Meta, by the way. Little company that's sort of working on their own idea. Well, they've apparently come up with the idea of third-person legs for their avatars. Now, this is revolutionary. Is it not? I don't hear the applause. I don't hear the laughter. I don't know
which to do. I don't know if I should do a cry or a cheer.
How? You can just buzz in and say, "My God!" Yeah, I mean, this is history in the making. This little company called Meta are working on third-person legs. And these are really interesting legs, because it means that you can take an avatar into a virtual space and you can see all your friends' avatars, and they're going to actually have legs, would you believe? Not just torsos. Now, this is revolutionary, but there's a little glitch. A little glitch here, we read. You yourself and your avatar will not be able to have legs. The legs are generated by a third party, so that anybody you're looking at will have legs. And if they're looking at you, they will see you with legs. But your avatar itself, when you go into the changing room, look in the mirror, it doesn't have legs. This is a bit... I fail to understand what they're trying to do here. I really do. Why? It's like the avatars that end with the torso, and instead of giving avatars legs, they're going to sort of give them a strap-on legs. Just so they look better. I don't know. You can actually listen to this article. It's from our friends at Upload VR. Their regular weekly show is coming up later, and I think they mentioned it on that too. Anyway, legs for avatars, but you'll only see other people's, not your own. Just only Meta could have come up with that one. Okay, I don't know what to say here. Uploadvr.com, uploadvr.com, and yep, the legs of it. Right, SiliconRepublic.com. Here we go. Serious sounding site. Oh, we have a video? Yes, we do. Here we are. Okay, how interoperability could boost blockchain and avoid a Betamax issue. This is getting serious stuff here, really. They're looking at interoperability, which is good. So basically, for those of you who don't know what a Betamax issue is, Betamax was the original high-end videotape format long before everything was digital. And it had a rival called VHS that was pretty crap. And the crap one won the consumer wars, even though there was basically no difference in price, and Betamax was far superior. So they're looking at examples of interoperability that may come with the metaverse and how it could boost blockchain, for example. But you know, what happens if, I don't know, some obscure company like Meta comes up with one idea of interoperability, and another company, I don't know, let's say they're called Microsoft, they come up with another idea, but they aren't interoperative. So people are going to make the choice as to what standard of interoperability they're going to go with, and will the one they choose actually end up being the inferior one, i.e. the Betamax moment. So interesting points to be raised there. It is actually great, actually, that last few weeks I noticed this, finally, in all the endless streams of the word metaverse coming through the feeds every day, we are actually getting some serious talking going on at last. You'll find this post at siliconrepublic.com. So that's SiliconRepublic.com. And an issue to read and discuss, basically. There we go. So moving on again, we come to, why do I keep getting web pages? It seems to be defaulting to them again. Okay, XR Health, Extended Reality Health, adds Neuro Reality's VR cognitive training to its virtual clinics. And basically they're using, I haven't got this video anywhere else because it's really a standalone thing. Oops. Started again. Okay, so that was rather lovely, nice and cute. But basically, of course, it's got health. You know, it's for therapy, basically. So it may look a bit simple to you and me, but given the people who need this cognitive rehabilitation, obviously they put a bit of effort into the scenarios they're going to be putting people in when it's for medical purposes. So Stop that repeating itself. Okay, you'll find this particular post anyway at organics.org, AUGANIX.org, of course, because everybody knows how to spell org, don't they? Right. Okay, oh, well, we did that one earlier. I remember I got into a bit of confusion because I didn't know where it was. Well, now I found it again. Too late. Right, roadtovr.com. I'm hearing a bit more from them recently. They were very quiet for a while, but anyway. This one is an article on developing rich VR interactions faster and easier using something called Ultimate XR. That is a product as opposed to a description of a advanced version of XR. If you say Ultimate XR, yeah, that's like calling something Ultimate Metaverse. Ah, how's Suki trademark the word ultimate? Anybody know? Right. A key aspect of what makes VR so compelling are rich interactions between the user and the world itself. Tool sets like Ultimate XR can speed up the iteration process, bringing more interactivity and immersion to games and other experiences. And it's a guest article by Enrique. No, that doesn't say Trump, it's Trump. Thank goodness for that. I was a bit worried when I first saw this. Prone to misreading things when I'm speed reading, eh? Right. Anyway, the article on it's a guest article for RotoVR basically, and he's been spending a lot of time since 2016, which isn't that long. Well, it's 8 years ago. No, 6 years ago. He's spent a big portion of his life building a framework and tool set that has become the technological foundation of his company, etc., etc. So it's obviously a bit of PR going on here. For Ultimate XR, but I think any developers and sort of tech people out there may find aspects of this quite interesting. I think I even sent this to the OMI people as well. It's very difficult to know when you've got solutions and things like this, how much they can contribute to an open source metaverse, and whether indeed they're actual platforms themselves. So I think this is free to use, but he's really talking more about it than he's selling it on what it can do rather than the cost or where you can get it. So but interesting stuff anyway. So worthy of a read if you work on UX interfacing or anything like that for virtual worlds, that is, virtual spaces. Right, moving on to guess who's back. Voices of VR. He's been tweeting endlessly this week with quite a lot of documents and things. So it's probably well worth checking out his site, voicesofvr.com, VOICESOFVR.com. And it's all run by the guy who does all the interviews, Kent Bai, his name is. And they're always interesting. This is number 1121 of his endless podcast, and this includes a recap of competitions and more than 30 reviews of immersive stories, which are all at Venice Immersive a couple of weeks ago. I think it was still going on last week. It was lasted quite a while. So it's a real roundup post. I imagine, knowing him, he'll be doing individual posts on. He'll have got individual interviews with some of the people there, and we'll publish them in due course, I imagine. But if you want a real roundup one, this is a good podcast. It's let me see. Yeah, it looks to be 2 hours 50 minutes, give and take. So you might want to hold back to play that when you've got some time on your hands, like late at night, one evening or something. You can find Voices of VR, the name of the podcast, every podcast client. Anywhere you look, you can just search for it and you'll be able to find it very easily. We've got a roundup of different what was discussed at what points in the interview and stuff. So you find this voicesofvr.com, VOICESOFVR.com, and you'll find more besides on that site. Right, Substat.com. I will start that one again. I've got my tongue stuck somewhere, haven't I? Right, this site is immerse, IMMERSE dot substack.com, immersesubstack.com. Don't know what it is about that site, but that's my mouth. My mouth is drying up. Let me just have a sip of something. I think it's just a wording. It's not very good on that anyway. Right. Looking at avatars, assets, and access. They had a previous issue where they were looking at just avatars, and this is a follow-up to that. I'm just trying to remember. I think this is just a... Yeah, I think the magic in this, actually, I think is the links they've got here. You know, if you're interested in avatars and assets and access, basically, Immerse covers all that stuff, and visual communication of climate change, and they got a link there. A documentary on politics in the Netflix era and streaming. Yeah, basically a roundup of various articles. So there's probably nothing really to read here in itself, just a lot of links you can follow if you're particularly interested. They've got Matthew Ball, of course, on the Metaverse, and projects they're eyeballing. Yes, nothing like a pair of eyeballs to get you excited. Okay, you'll find that, as I said, immerse.substack.com, and remove that item, and right, I do believe. Okay, this, yeah, okay, two more links here. Right, this is the site is called SN Explores, SNEXPLORES.org. It's like I think it's to do with science news or something. So it's Science News Explores is what it stands for there. So, welcome to the Metaverse. Yeah. If you play Fortnite or Minecraft, you're already part of this growing virtual universe. Not to mention, if you've been using Second Life for 2 decades, you might be considered to be so too. But they aren't going that deep into their research, are they? No, of course they're not. They have been suckered by NVIDIA, of course. That picture is from NVIDIA's Virtual Worlds Omniverse. Okay, they talk about snow crash, everything else, how educators and parents might want to sign up for the cheat sheet. Science News Explores, yes, obviously hot on self-promotion here, and a video from NVIDIA's Omniverse Foundational Technology Montage. Don't know how that long it is. I don't know if I've ever seen it. I wonder how long it is. Oh, we'll have a look at this, I think.
Omniverse technology will transform the way you create.
Quicker than I thought. Was that 2 minutes? Oh well, you get the idea. Yeah, so snexplores.org is the site we're on to. They do see Omniverse, by the way, from NVIDIA. It's a software platform allowing people to collaborate virtually on 3D projects, and you can download it totally for free and work together with friends to build things ready for the metaverse. Whatever the metaverse may be, basically. The opportunity to build new worlds is available now, blah, blah, blah. And this blog then insists on trying to tell us what the metaverse is, but each to their own. Nothing wrong with that. I'm not going to play all these videos, but it's fairly exhausted. Oh, a VR portrait gallery of Obama portraits. That's quite new because this in real life, and I remember seeing the report of that opening. I think Biden was there welcoming Obama to his own photo gallery or something. Yeah. So there's a version in World somewhere. Oh, it's short enough. Here we go. It's quiet enough too, isn't it? Oh, that makes a change. So that's the virtual art gallery for. Oh, I like this. Not only no legs, it's got no body, just a helmet. Oh no, there's a little bit of something. And there's Michelle, I believe. It's Paul McCartney saying Michelle, my belle, and then apologised in advance to Barack for the lyrics. I found that was it. That was one of the White House concerts where Paul McCartney was invited with friends to do an impromptu gig, and he couldn't. He had to sing Michelle, but then he realised that he needed to apologise first because of the lyrics. Oh, what fun, what fun. Okay, snexplores.org. Moving on. This would be just of interest to people here. This post is at engadget.com, engadget.com. The image hosting service called Flickr. You must have heard of it. Oddly enough, when they began, they there weren't. I think Second Life was around, but virtual worlds weren't particularly a thing. But they did actually mean it to be used for, computer graphics, basically non-standard photography. But it's become a major photo sharing site over the years. Although, if you use OpenSim or Second Life, if you use Firestorm Viewer, for example, for your virtual worlds, you've got a button that allows you to take a snapshot and post to Flickr. But they've actually seemed to realise that they're increasingly being used to post pictures taken in virtual environments. So they're setting up a whole new section there, which is specifically for virtual photography. So if you're posting to your account on Flickr, I guess it means that instead of just going into your own stream, you can tag it so that it goes into the virtual photography section of the site. So, so basically it's a major subsection of the site that they're now going to be heavily promoting because they realise people are doing a lot of it, and it's getting official recognition almost by calling it virtual photography. So we keep the old-fashioned name photography, but we add the virtual. And significant, maybe it is significant that they do not call it metaverse photography. Maybe they have more sense than to use a word that nobody understands yet. Virtual photography, there it is, now viewing at flickr.com. Courtesy of engadget.com for that little post. And we'll move on down here. Now I've got a couple of extra little things here. I would have held these back if we were doing an in-world review this week, but this is a bit different. One site, Everything Immersive, I've got their RSS feeds these days, and I'm really I'm quite happy about this. If you're interested in the helmet verse, or just flat screen stuff, this site basically is listing all sorts of immersive experiences you can go to on the web or in your helmet. A lot of them in VR chat, but not all of them. It's the site's called everythingimmersive.com, so that's everything immersive, no space, .com, and I'm not going to spell every letter in that. You know how to spell it. And basically they've got a subsection here that we're looking at now called VR Chat Worlds. And Oddly Comforting is one. And you get lots of pages like this. They announce, the site, so to speak. And then you get a picture or something, and then you get a link so you can, on the web at least, you can just go straight through and check it out. Let's see what happens with this one. There we are. And basically, a bit like in OpenSim, at OpenSim World or something like that, you've got lots of destinations listed, and you go down the list and choose where you want to go. But this is more like it anyway. This particular one, called Cuddle by the Fire, is hosted by somebody called Fiona, or hosted by Fiona by Wispy Woo. It's an apartment full of warm tones, books, wood, cosy sofas by the fire. You sit in a nook by a rainy window and enjoy the warmth inside with somebody special. So social VR. And it tells you, this one of course is free, so you don't need to see the ticket details. It's available anytime. So if you want, you can just click through and you get that far, and then you just click launch world. And okay, it can't do it from here. Safari can't anyway. But you can.
Nor Macintosh.
Yeah, it may be something that doesn't work on the Mac. That's true. It would actually have told me down here if I actually PC and Quest. Okay, well that explains it. Although a VR chat, I think you can go on the Mac. Anyway, I like this site because I must say I haven't followed that many of the links from it, because these introductory page almost tell you everything you need to know about it, and quite a lot of them end up being paid tickets and stuff, so you can actually see this, without actually going anywhere. Call of the Void, for example, that's I think it's the VR chat. There we are, August 22. Okay, Soul Station, Celtic Light. Let's try Soul Station. Check it out. And here we are again. No, that one's free too. Okay, well, every time I find an interesting one, it tells me how much the tickets are. I'm having good luck here. I'm getting all the free ones. But actually, I love the way that they must do, maybe 20 posts a day. So there's lots of this stuff coming. And these tend to be individual immersive experiences. So sometimes they're in VR chat, but they're, so you've got to go to the experience. Others that they publish here are actually standalone experiences that have their own website and aren't interconnected with any greater virtual world or anything. But something gives you the site itself gives you a very good idea of exactly what's happening here. So everythingimmersive.com, and if you use RSS feeds, you can get a feed from the top sites, actually, not just the virtual ones, and it's a good way of seeing from a feed every day, or the new or latest things popping up online that you want to dive into. And obviously this is perfect for people who are living in Helmet Land as well. So so a lot of these are actually quite literally for helmet only. So repeating that, everythingimmersive, all one word, .com. And that was a nice one. And finally, another one. This one is for people in open simulation and the hypergrid. I feature this site on the Metaworld news feed. This is where this link is, by the way, twitter.com Metaworld News. Metaverse peers talking about virtual friends, virtual homes. Lots of pretty pictures on these modern websites, aren't there? Anyway, this is actually in OpenSim, basically, and presumably if you need to be on the hypergrid, although maybe it works with any OpenSim. It's a call for artists for an exhibition at the Sendelon Art Library. The quarterly exhibition will be in DigiWorlds, and where are we? Okay, well, if you are in OpenSim and you are interested in submitting you're an artist and want to exhibit for this exhibition, come to this site and read about it. The site we're looking at is metaversepeers.com, metaversepeers.com, and Hypergrid Safari will be there and in the Wellspring regions on the 5th of October, which of course is a Wednesday noon Pacific time. And I think that's all you need. They've also got a page here at OpenSim World, which I might as well go to because this is another good site to follow. You can see the logo at the top of this. OpenSim World is the name of this site. OpenSimWorld, or one word.com. And that's the entry for the Sendelone site where that exhibition is going on. We were just looking at it, and you can see the advert here too. And OpenSim World always gives you these logins. And interestingly, you can always get all the variations, because some logins go login, others use HG dot whatever. Others use a system called Hop, and you can literally well, when I click that, it tries to open Firestorm. Oh, actually, I think all of them here are actually basically that will open your virtual view. My default is Firestorm, and it then take me to there if I want to go. So that's OpenSim World. It's worth having open in a tab somewhere on your computer, hidden away while you're in OpenSim, because it's a very quick way of toggle that page to find what you're looking for and where you want to go. Right, so, and of course the previous page, Metaverse Peers, and this is opensimworld.com. So that is it. Except going back to the main stuff, this is my feed this week from my Mastodon feed, basically, mastodon.social /@ symbol Metaworld. And these are all in my Twitter feed too, so don't worry about coming here directly. But if you are here, you can either click through this one for oops, Daisy, I didn't mean to do that. You can either play here on this Mastodon feed, or you can click on it and actually open it in YouTube or in whatever video hosting company it comes from. If I play it there, for example, it's just easy to refer.
Podcast is sponsored by our friends at Zapper, the world's leading augmented reality platform and creative studio. With over 11...
One of these days, there's going to be more adverts on This Week in XR than content, but that's Charlie for you, I guess, taking full advantage of his prestige or whatever. This Week in XR podcast, anyway, almost always on video each weekend, and you can find it in my feed or on YouTube, wherever. This one, I'll just... oh yeah, Tipachat-Chervasian. I'm not sure who that was. I remember, I get confused. The previous week they didn't actually have a guest, but they did actually have a guest on this one. I just can't remember who it is. It's Tipachat-Chervasian. He's a general partner of the venture reality fund. Right, so he's talking about venture capital, I guess. Right, so let's get back to my right page. Right, coming down also this weekend, the latest in Between Realities. This one features Jason Parks of Rotu Entertainment, amongst other things. Very good podcast. They do often end up talking about games and things, but they're so into it, it can't help but be interesting, and they're Between Realities is in the name. They're not a gaming site per se. At the beginning of the show, I showed you a little roundup from Philip Rosedale, and he was actually part of I'm hoping this is still up now, a broadcast that was late last week. I think it's probably, is it or isn't it? Yes, I can watch it again. This is at Livestream, a service we actually used to use.
Wow, that goes back far.
It does
Although
indeed.
no one knows exactly what the metaverse will be, it's already clear our personal and professional lives will increasingly be lived in immersive, continuous, and communal virtual spaces. Our shift from physical to virtual interactions dates back to the earliest days of smoke signals, mail, the telegraph, phone, and the internet.
Okay, that's somebody introducing it.
I'm Jamie Metzler, founder of One Shared World and a member of the advisory board of 92NY's Belfer Center for Innovation and Social Impact. On behalf of both of our organizations, it's my great pleasure to welcome you to our conversation today entitled, Do We Need a Constitution for the Metaverse? This program is both part of One Shared World's Rise or Fall Together series and of 92NY's Newmark Civic Life series. Imagine how history could have been different, and possibly even better, if in the earliest days of the industrial, nuclear, or internet revolutions, we'd come together for an inclusive public dialogue about what principles should guide those epic transformations. Perhaps such a process could have helped us prevent some of the worst abuses and secure a better future. Today, we're in the early days of a revolution that will have profound implications for how and where we live our lives. Although the metaverse remains an abstract idea, still only a potential, it's already clear that we'll be living ever more of our lives in immersive, continuous virtual spaces. We've all seen the movies like Ready Player One and The Matrix, depicting one possible future of a metaverse. But what the metaverse or metaverses will be is not yet determined. In many ways, it's up to us to imagine and help build the kind of virtual spaces we would like to inhabit. But who is us? There's an argument to be made that in our capitalist society, we should just sit back and let companies build out the metaverse, and that we should wait until that happens before burdening this process with too much conversation about the rights and responsibilities of future metaverse inhabitants. I believe that argument is wrong. The time to explore how we can help build a metaverse optimized for the common good is now, when the early design and architectural decisions are still being made, not a decade or two from now when those foundations are already laid. Our charge for today's conversation and beyond is to explore how we can best do that. Our One Shared World Constitutional Congress for the Metaverse Initiative, in close collaboration with 92NY, which we are in the early stages of developing, rests on 4 pillars. First, we will hold and encourage others to hold engaged public conversations like this one, exploring issues of rights and responsibilities in the metaverse. Second, we will host and encourage others to host stakeholder consultations, bringing together companies, governments, civil society leaders, activists, and others to explore collective and inclusive ways forward. Third, we will work with other organizations toward hosting not the first Constitutional Congress for the Metaverse, designed to begin articulating what public rights and responsibilities for the metaverse might include. The goal will not be to come up with a final and determinative set of principles, but to spark an ongoing, inclusive, and decentralized process that can grow and change over time as more voices are heard. Fourth, we will call on those building future metaverses to incorporate these perspectives and principles into design and architectural decisions being made today, even in these early days. This is a very ambitious journey, which must, of course, begin with small steps. And I am delighted we have such an incredible group of discussants with us today. If you're joining on your screen, we hope you will be part of this process as well. We'll be circulating a link to the live stream chat to crowdsource your ideas for the future of the metaverse. Please click the link in the chat to add your voice to this important conversation. We also hope you'll sign up to be part of this initiative by filling out the form and providing your contact information at oneshared.world/metaverse. And now it's my great pleasure to introduce our moderator for today's event. Britton Heller is a senior fellow at the Atlantic Council's Digital Forensic Research Lab, who advises tech companies, investors, and governments on public safety and freedom of expression. Britton, over to you.
Thank you again, Jamie, from One Shared World, and to 92nd Street Y for co-hosting this event. I'm Britton Heller. I'm honored to be guiding this important conversation on the future of democracy in the metaverse. Before we begin, I wanted to take a moment to introduce our panel, joining us from across the United States and around the world. Philip Rosedale is a web pioneer and creator of the virtual world's Second Life, an open-ended and pioneering metaverse. This year, Philip rejoined Second Life as a strategic advisor focused on helping to shape and build a better metaverse. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
Next, we have Dave Wasslin, Metaverse CEO of Wilder World and founder of Creative, a tech investment and advisory practice. His expertise lies in discovering and building out next-generation technology platforms with a focus on decentralized open protocols. He's based out of Singapore. Dave, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
And next we have Gaia Kandahadai, digital and human rights and policy expert at the Business and Human Rights Resource Center. She's a lawyer with a background in international law and human rights. and an expert on regulating and adopting a human rights-based approach to internet governance. She's joining us from Mauritius. Gaia, thank you for coming here today. And with
Right, well, it's not my show to play to you. I've forgotten how long the guy who introduced this whole thing takes at the beginning there. So, but I wanted to let it run so you know what it's all about. Well worth watching this. It's it's over an hour, but not much. 1 hour 5 minutes, I think. And we're 8 minutes in, so it's about 55, just over 55 minutes of the actual discussion there, which is absolutely fascinating and well worth watching. And a very good question. Do we need a constitution for the metaverse? Yeah, it embeds you. It does delay a bit at the start there. Live stream behaves slightly differently from Vimeo and YouTube, etc. But it works fine once you get used to it. Right. Another one from midweek was the Quest Pro leak. Was it real? They ask. And are we all buying PlayStation 2, blah, blah. Oh, yeah, this one will be quite interesting. VR mods have saved PC VR. Oh, now I forget the contents of this. Yeah, apparently one of the platforms that launched as a screen-based platform has now been modified so you can buy somebody so this version you can now use in a helmet. I forget which. This is a YouTube link basically. It's called the VR Crewcast and it's episode 1 of it. You'll notice we got thingy from Between Realities there, some familiar faces, and yeah. Okay, I forget the exact piece of software it is that has been modded for VR, but you'll find out if you listen to that. Just start it off here.
Let's do it. Let's go. Welcome everybody to episode 1 of the VR Crewcast. I'm sure you know all these faces here right in front of you, but I'm going to start from the top. We got Wes from Virtual Strangers. How you doing, Wes?
I'm doing well, GT. How are you doing, man?
I'm good. Mate, I'm all better now that we're all together because obviously this was put off. She was going to do it last week, and PAX happened. Next up, we got Skiva from Between Realities. How you doing, dude?
What's up, man? I'm so stoked to be here to talk VR with all of you amazing people.
I just can't believe it's actually happening. We got Alex from Between Realities. How you doing?
Right, well, after the introductions, they do actually start talking about things. Anyway, interesting. First episode of something always is. Check it out and see what you think. It's an hour and 17 minutes in all, so it's not too bad. You know, I can talk. I'm just here to give you news headlines, and that's normally 3 hours. James groaning. I can hear James groaning in the background anyway. Right, this one. James, did you watch this one?
I didn't this week.
Oh.
No,
okay.
I had a very busy week, and then you know, as you know, I wasn't not feeling too well, so it just conspired against me to watch Ian and David Heaney talk about it all.
I watched a bit of it. I actually tuned in live. I got an alert, and I was on my screen when the alert came through, so I clicked on the link and tuned in live.
All right.
And I'm afraid I had quite a bit to do, and sort of. I can do some multitasking while I'm watching something, but or better still, just listening. You know, but I certainly didn't watch it all the way through. So, yeah, the new PlayStation thing is their a big thing at the moment, and of course the supposed design leak for MetaQuest Pro.
And the legs, Mal. Just think about the legs.
Oh yeah, yes, yeah. Well, you know, that's what else can you say? I mean,
yeah. I mean, we've never had legs before.
I know, you know. I mean, this is a seismic event. I mean, forget the death of a monarch.
Right.
It's been on for over 70 years. You know, this is seismic. This is the first time this has happened since the dawn of creation.
You didn't see, but I stood up on the desk to show that I had to show that I had legs.
We've always had legs.
We've always had
the
legs.
very thought that in this modern day and age there would be a metaverse where you... I mean, I can understand people get drunk, which is what we mean when we say legless. and then go into the metaverse to fool around or grief or pester people. That's vaguely what I would call legless in the metaverse, but without actual legs. I mean, you'd have to down an awful lot of alcohol to not be able to stand on your legs. And I don't think if you're in that state you'd even want to go into helmet land. Who knows what you'd trip over.
I do have to say I don't look at my legs very often while I'm in World, so I don't know that.
Are you?
Yeah, I just look at other people's legs, but I don't look at my legs.
Well,
this is sounding terrible now.
Well, yeah, of course you can look at other people's legs, but they're artificial legs. They're third-party legs, apparently. Whatever that
well,
means.
our open sim legs are not very. We don't really do much with our open sim legs.
Yeah, but at least they're our own. They go with the rest of our avatar.
Yeah.
Whereas these legs are third-party, which means they're like, it's like you're amputated and you're going to be given a couple of third-party legs to wear.
Oh, I thought of it as like souping up your car, putting modifications to your automobile.
Oh boy. Anyway.
Good times these.
We could be there all day. Okay, 4 days ago, XR's big news, another episode 1. This is getting a lot of episode 1s coming up these days. XR big news. Latest from Lenovo, NVIDIA and RealWear from XR today.
Hello and welcome. I'm Isabel Blakemore, technology presenter here at XR Today. And this week in our big news update, we will be dissecting the top news stories over the past couple of weeks with an exclusive interview with a chief scientific officer from Farcana. In this episode, we'll be focusing on stories like Lenovo Think Reality System is their Drive Enterprise Metaverse, Japanese EMT's trial Vuzix M400 smart glasses, RealWear is to become platform solution firm, and NVIDIA unveils open metaverse tools at SIGGRAPH 2022.
I think that is obviously episode 1. I hope she'll calm down a bit in future episodes. She's going through it at the speed of light, and it's a couple of places it's hard. I'm English too, and I can't understand what she's saying. Not there so much, but she starts racing at some point. But good luck to him anyway. It's actually only 16 minutes. In fact, I think I had that ready to show independently if we needed it, but no time. Yeah, it's what the job. 15 minutes of your time to see what they've got to say. Talking about the big names and RealWear too. Okay, also this week, God, I can't load here. Right. Okay. This one's interesting. I have this offline because I was going to show a little bit of this anyway, but only an extract of it. It's a TED Talk, actually. Anyone can participate in building the metaverse. And it's not particularly long, but yeah, it's 10 minutes. So another interesting thing. Actually, it will save me doing it offline. I'm actually going to do this live. I'm scrolling through it, as you could probably tell, because he's giving it. I think I've got the right bit. This is giving his talk.
At least I don't. I love my digital art, but I want to take it with me out into the real world. So let's do that. This is Never Lonely Boy. He's sitting in the abandoned lot by himself until he's surrounded by his virtual friends. Now what if those virtual friends could join me here on the TED stage? And, oh, bam. Hey, little buddy.
There you go.
Now, ideally, we'd all be wearing augmented reality glasses, but consumer-ready AI glasses not quite there yet. But this is kind of cool. But how can we build on this? What's next? And is there a way for the digital experiences that we create to truly enrich our physical lives? So today I'll propose 3 pillars for what I think will help us build a healthy metaverse.
Right, well, for 10 minutes, the guy gets quite a lot in there, actually, so do feel free to follow that link and watch it. It's at YouTube, by the way, if you click through, although no doubt it's, many of you will have the TED TV channel on your smart TVs or whatever, and you find it there as well. Also this week, this is another one from Upload VR. Right, I think this was in advance of the regular program, and this is where they were actually looking at the Quest Pro leak, and they got this guy Ramiro Cardenas, who was the leaker, live for an interview. So it's like an extra edition of Upload VR. I take it you didn't see this one either, James.
No, I did watch that one actually.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. Again, some people are saying the whole thing was a bit of a hoax. Not Upload VR, of course, but they felt too many coincidences involved in this leaker being a genuine leaker who found something and then knew how to unbox it. Well, go figure. Can't trust anything on the interwebs these days. But there you go. They have sort of interviewing the leaker, and of course the intrigue behind whether it was a planned leak or a real leak doesn't really matter. The thing has still been exposed now for what it is, and presumably that doesn't harm the Empire of Zook at all. Right, and F-Reality. Oh yeah, that was September 10th. That really was last week. Okay, so we've done them all. F-Reality seems to be on a fortnightly schedule now, so there'll be probably one this coming week. Okay, so those are the latest videos, and that, in fact, is it for the entire show. I've got a couple of those. Oh right, one final video I've got offline. Right here. It's actually 8 minutes long, so I'm not going to play it all. But this is actually XR women flying into the metaverse through books and culture.
Flying into the metaverse through books and culture is honored to interview today Smithson and Christina Hill-Hoppy.
I meant to lower the volume, not mute you.
This interview was recorded during the AWE USA at the Santa Clara Convention Center in California in June 2022.
My name is Karen Alexander, and I am one of the founders of XR Women.
XR Women is a worldwide network of professionals that meet weekly in virtual worlds and where a distinguished list of XR industry speakers has a part. A great name. Today, I'm here with Judy Smithson, co-founder of Metaverse and XR Women, businesswoman, wife, mother, and woman in tech, to use her strength and knowledge to change education with technology experience. Here there is also Karen Alexander, a sought-after consultant on building immersive learning programs with extensive connection across the XR industry, and academia and co-founder of XR Women. Here there is also Christina Hill-Hoppy, experienced chef strategist with a demonstrated history of working in the internet industry. Who are XR Women? What do you do? Tell me about your experience.
Okay, well, as you can probably gather, that's a discussion, and you get to see the three guests there sort of all together. They're not on separate cameras; they're all standing together. Quite interesting. If Cecilia here, if you don't recognise her, she hosts the Florence nights, the Augmented Reality Expo. When they do the nights in Italy and Florence, she hosts those. And you find she crops up with our good friend the Scar Ghost, Tony Portello, all over the place too. So I've quite often seen them together on particular things. Tony Portello being in Italy too, of course. How's this Thursday, come to think of it? But I don't think they've ever met. Right. Sorry, our partner in crime there. Right, and the Ted thing. Okay, that really is it. So that's any more thoughts from you, James?
No, nothing for me. The legs thing is funny. I think the Quest leak was real myself, based on the Upload VR story, and so I think they probably didn't want that news out, but such as it is.
Yeah. Who really knows then? So yeah. I must say, I it wasn't quite as helmety looking as I thought. It's still not glassy. I mean, maybe it's the first time Meta have come up with something that can genuinely be called a headset rather than a helmet. And it has got a lot. It's also very expensive, isn't it? And it's got a lot of inside, outside tracking and all sorts of this fancy stuff that makes it all more compelling.
Eye tracking, right?
Yeah, eye tracking. Yeah. But inside and outside together or something. That made sense.
Oh, right.
Not being a helmet man, I don't I don't get it all. Yeah, I don't know. And is it? I don't think it's that one. There is one which I find interesting where it actually shows you a view on the outside of the headset, like.
Oh, right. That was a prototype, but yeah, that was.
Yeah, funny. So if you, imagine you're sitting in a room all on your own in a virtual world and being very antisocial, and then all the people around you can suddenly look at your face and see projected on the outside of your helmet what you're doing. That could be very embarrassing if somebody comes into a room where you're in exotic VR location, for example. Quite, who knows what the future holds. Okay, well, with that, I think I'm going to let you get on. I know you've been feeling a little bit poorly, or at least your stomach has, so... I think we pushed it a bit here. I don't know how long we've been on there, but well, we're under 2 hours. That says something. We haven't been that long at all. 90 minutes, I should think, at most. Right. Okay. Well, with that, we will leave you for another week. We will return same time, same place in a week's time. We hope, and. Getting a bit more back to normal. Certainly in the UK here, it's a bit more back to normal. And it's interesting that as autumn comes, it tends to be a season of conferences and sort of people doing things for some reason. So I've got a feeling the forthcoming weeks will probably get somewhat busier on the XR sort of front generally. Right. And we'll be doing quite a bit of a reboot of our Rimworld review program, which is probably going to be on a regular twice a month kind of idea, but with set days. So we will see. We'll give you more about that when we've got it. Meanwhile, XR, VR, blah blah and blah blah. we are. But I won't impose that on James this week. His poor old throat. Right. Well, what I say, it's goodbye from me, and it's goodbye from James. All right. You can say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Yeah, from me too. Keep safe, everybody. Stay away from invisible, spiky, viral things. Stay at home if you can. Stay indoors. Fire up your screen, be it 3D or be it 2D, and venture into virtual worlds. You have no need to go out. Order the shopping in. Work from home. All the rest of it. And if you can get out in time to get to YouTube, we'll see you next week. Bye for now.